That's it, it's on.
We're about to go and start the show.
We're backstage. We're actually going on now. Literally now. You go first.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Collings and Herrin. Thank you very much.
Look at the sound of applause.
We'll plug it in as it'll go. There it is.
Oh, I'll plug it in.
Even though we have the ability to record this really technically correctly here, the underbelly, the white belly of the underbelly, we've decided still to do it on the computer.
In the spirit of the podcast.
So this is the first ever welcome live podcast of Collings and Herrin.
It's number 25.
Andrew wants to explain what a podcast is.
A live podcast. There might be some
that goes on the internet.
What if there are some people who haven't listened to the podcast?
Of course they haven't. Look. I mean, I've never seen a bigger bunch of nerds in my life. There is not anyone here most of them are 23 hours a day on the computer. This is the first time outside.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's like being in a fucking funky little squat.
We've made it as difficult as possible. We held it at 10:30 in the morning on a weekday.
This is like 6 o'clock in the morning, Edinburgh time, so I'm not going to be at all amused.
And it's raining, and you're still here. Imagine going through all that just to come here and sit and listen to us talk and watch your laughter on our computer.
So that's sad when you said that. The laughter is actually... we can actually literally scientifically measure the laughter. And there's like about 600 people here for those listening at home. It's amazing turnout. We're extremely popular. Actually, it's better than I expected.
Fantastic. I'm truly flattered. I was nervous about the computer, but the computer's working. The rest of it will be fine. It will be just as if we're sitting in Richard's attic. So imagine you're in Richard's attic.
That would be scary, though. Yeah. I'd be a bit more concerned if I was in my attic and there was 100 nerds sitting there.
He has got a lot of spare rooms, though, Richard. So.
But one of the members of Pappy's Fun Club is here. I saw him walk. Where are you?
As advertised.
There he is, look.
Yeah.
Shout out. I can't just wave. It's a podcast. Shout out.
Hello.
That's Matthew Crosby from Pappy's Fun Club. It's our audience with. He's the equivalent of John Conte. A strange name to pluck out of the air.
Because you've
It's going to be great. This I'm like I'm on high on drugs. It's not. I'm not. It's like I am.
It's like what you imagine it would be like.
Lack of sleep, and Andrew bought me a croissant and a pan au chocolat for my breakfast.
I did. I woke him up too early. It's the first time we've ever slept in the same house overnight.
You woke me up. You say you woke me up. You attempted to bum me. And just at the end, it didn't actually. When you were bumming me, your cock is so small that it didn't actually wake me up. What woke me up was you getting off. You just nudged me.
I was getting off as well.
Yeah. We were a bit worried, but Andrew stayed at my house, my flat last night, in the room next to mine.
The whole thing is a ploy, all of this. Unfortunately, you're all pawns in this. Richard wanted to get me alone in his house. He can't do it in London, so he made me come all the way here.
I made Andrew fish cakes last night. What?
Well, shall I tell the people what was special about the fish cakes?
Yeah.
Richard cooked them for me topless. He actually had no top on when he fried the fish cakes. And I was trying to just pretend I hadn't noticed.
I argued this because I didn't want to get like splattering fat on my t-shirt.
That's what he said. He does look pretty good from the waist up.
No, I've been working out.
He's been working out. But I was not tempted. I'm here for work. I'm not here for pleasure. We're taking this podcast a little bit more seriously than normal, but I hope it still will be a rambling mess. But we have actually written down, and we never do this. I've written down a list of topics. I sometimes prepare things in my head. Richard likes to pretend he's never read the newspapers, but he has, really. And it says at the top here...
You can't say that when this is actually in the podcast. Don't start revealing the map how it works. People at home, the disingenuous idiots at home, still think I'm a buffoon. They don't know.
That's true, yeah.
I'm a sophisticate in real life who would never bum. Not a man, anyway.
In fact, the first item on the agenda is bumming updates. So, have we done that?
No, we haven't. No, we've got to talk about Barabbas, who's the people who were last week in hysteria. Last week's hysteria was doing 2 in a row. This week's hysteria is being just asleep still. I requested for some reason that people call Barabbas, the biblical figure, a bummer on his Wikipedia entry, which many people tried to do, and thank you for that. It was a waste of time. But the Wikipedia, whoever's in charge of Wikipedia was very fast.
They come out of the woodwork very quickly.
It's like they must have some software that is primed to see if anyone puts bummer in any. The word bummer must be on the list. Which
I can't believe that somebody here didn't actually develop that software.
So that got taken off, but Argentina Brunetti has that film has been added to cinematography after she's dead.
Anyone who didn't listen to last week's podcast or has never listened to it,
because they listen. Why is so many new people going to be listening to the podcast?
Can't assume.
I can't assume. Just this because it's different for us. It doesn't mean it's different out there. It's still the same. It's the same. This is everyone who listens to it. They've travelled. There'll be no downloads this week. So I've heard it. Or something like, I would like to hear my own laughter passed through internet into my own ears
in an air raid shelter. I read John Gaunt's book on the train. I don't know if I mentioned that. John Gaunt, for the uninitiated, you know who he is.
Everyone knows who John Gaunt is.
He's a right-wing columnist for The Sun and appears on TalkSport. Anyway, I read his book in full yesterday on the train because we have had a go at John Gaunt in the past on this podcast, and I felt bad. I thought, we don't really know him. So now I know him. I understand him. I've got to the bottom of John Gaunt. His book is called Undaunted, which I think is supposed to be a pun.
Yeah, it should be ungaunted.
Ungaunted,
which would be correct, because he is ungaunt. He's a big fat fuss.
He was a big fat
How I became ungaunted. Yeah. When I was born, I was quite gaunt. I came out of my mother quite skinny. Yeah. But then immediately started eating pie after pie. And in 50 years, I was the fat wanker, you see. I've got to be careful, because his fans are out for us. They hate us. He's a good bloke. I don't want to get.
Well, I've read his book, and I appreciate, that his mum died when he was young, and his dad cried when his mum died. I'll just give you this little extract here, because
Oh yeah, fucking Mr. Gaunt, what a wanker! Let's have a go at him crying. His wife's dead.
He didn't cry, but he said that his dad, he was a hard man, right? His dad was a hard man. He never stopped telling us that his dad was working class, or that he is working class. And he said his dad only cried 3 times. Once when his wife died, fair enough, you have to let him off. Even though he's working class, he still cried when his wife died, just before Christmas. Don't you laugh.
Do you think it was the Christmas thing that swung it? He thought, I'm not going to get a present now.
Not John Gaunt didn't cry.
No,
John Gaunt's dad.
I know, but he's thinking my wife isn't around to give me a present.
Yeah, that's true. And then the second time he cried was when he had a vasectomy. This is what John Gaunt tells us. And the third time, and I'll read you what it says, was when he had his piles elastic banded, and he came in with tears in his eyes, walking like an extra in Brokeback Mountain. Now, the implication here is that if you were an extra on that Oscar-winning movie about 2 men who have a consensual homosexual relationship, you would also be in some way anally raped. Just for being an extra on the film, even though it's A, fictional, and B, was about 2 men who did it in a tent.
Yeah, but Heath Ledger had to practice, didn't he, somewhere?
That's what it was like being an extra. Yeah.
That's what he did, didn't he? Or was it the other one? Whoever was the bummer.
I can't remember who was
the bummer. It should be called the 2 bummers there.
Or just the
bummer cowboys. 2 men who are bummers. We are bummers. That's what it should be called. When he bummed, see the bummer, not the bummy, I can't remember which way around it is. I think Heath Ledger did the bumming. May he rest in peace. This is a tribute to it. I sing this as a tribute to his career. This is what I'm saying now is the Oscar he deserved and he should have had for that role. Yeah. This is me saying he's a bummer.
Yeah.
He'll be up in heaven looking down and good. At last I had the recognition. If it was me, I can't remember which one I was. Whether I was the bum or the bummy. It's good he was so moved by the film, he all he remembers is the spitting in the hand, thinking, well, that might be a good way to lubricate someone for anal sex. I'll make a note of that. Anyway, he's spat in his hand, didn't he? But that to me suggests that character had done that before.
With an extra.
Definitely made with an extra.
Yeah. There's a lot of extras at the
That's why they're called extras.
Yeah. That's very true. And so basically...
They're called supporting artists, which, again, works.
I'm not going to read you any more of John Gaunt's book because
next week.
We've got to do another podcast later on this afternoon for next week, and we can't do any topical material in it. Although this isn't topical now, it's topical to me because I've now put it into context for you, and that is my job, to put things into context. Because if you just heard that random story, didn't know which book it was from, wouldn't mean anything.
It's all right. They'll just have turned off when after that sentence. Confusing sentence. What's the next thing?
Do you want me to read some more?
No,
I'll tell you what I will. No, I'll just tell you one more thing. Right, one more thing out of this book, which is the killer. Gaunted, there's
You're going to blow it. You're going to blow it.
No, just one thing. There's a load of pictures inside, as there always are in this kind of book, and there's a picture of John Gaunt mucking about with Basil Brush. He's looking like he's strangling Basil Brush and laughing. It's a crazy picture. And underneath there's a caption, and it says, "Me and Basil, the only fox I don't want to hunt," he says.
It's good, he's strident in his views.
He's strident, yeah.
I think he should want to hunt Basil Brush as well. If he really strongly feels about fox hunting, he should have killed Basil Brush there and then.
He's a bit of a liberal, really, when it comes down to it. He wants to kill all foxes except for the one that he likes.
Yeah.
That's not proper right-wing behaviour, is it?
I'm not foxes. I've got one fox friend. Basil Brush. It is Basil Brush. I still like to rip off his tail and wipe the blood on the face of a child, which is what they do in fox hunting.
So that's what they used to do in fox hunting, Richard.
They still do it. It's gone underground, literally.
Is it?
Yeah. They are literally underground. They've got a system of tunnels big enough to accommodate horses and dogs. And they chase the foxes on their own territory, but the foxes can come back. They're wily.
They are wily.
Underground, they have an advantage. Many of the hunters have been. I'm just talking, seeing what comes out. Sometimes
that's what we do.
Sometimes it'll be good. It's all written. This.
It's all scripted. We've learned it. Yeah, we've learned it.
We could have gone to Batman off the Heath Ledger thing, and that would have been a brilliant link. But now you've blown it by going on that fucking John Gaunt and
if we had, it would have sounded like that we'd scripted it.
I know. Well, what's this? What is
that's
this?
Not script, is it? That is a script.
It's a bigger script than most blooming Edinburgh shows have got. Right, kids?
Wankers. Right.
What's Heath Ledger been up to now? That bloke, he dies and yet he still comes back, causing trouble.
He promoted homosexuality just because they lifted Section 28 in a big film about homosexuality where all these extras were involved, and now he wants kids to kill each other with knives.
Maybe John Gaunt just meant he was walking normally. That's what he was walking like an extra from Brokeback Mountain, i.e. someone who hadn't been just had anal sex, just walking along normally, slightly proud of themselves, thinking, I'm in a really good film. I expect there'll be an Oscar nomination or two for this, and I'm really, even though I'm just a supporting artist, I'm a very small part of it. I can show my kids this and go, well, when they're old enough. And, they'll be proud of their old dads. That's what he's thinking. He came out from having his piles. Elastic bandage.
Elastic bandage, that's the medical term.
I mean, why were they putting elastic bandages on his piles? They're really painful. No wonder he cried.
I'm surprised.
I should have taken them off, not tied elastic bands around them. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, when he looked at them and said, well, the reason they hurt is because you've got elastic bands
around. Absolutely. Take those off and stop walking like that extra from Brokeback Mountain.
What have you been up to? Don't put in the papers yet. Tell us what we've been up to.
The papers yet.
We make, for people who don't know, we do make this up as we go along.
Yeah.
This isn't a script.
No, we were once criticised. We were criticised by Q magazine. Sorry, Richard. Of all the places, the place where I used to work. I used to sweat, in fact. Q magazine criticised us and said that it sounded unrehearsed, didn't it?
To me, it sounds like a sketch that could have been written by Catherine Tate so far.
Yeah.
Quite long, unedited.
Let's get this out in the open. Now, the only interesting thing I've done this week.
Am I bothered? I am a little bit bothered.
He is quite bothered. There are two important things that have happened to us this week. Mine is less interesting than Richard's. So
I disagree.
Should we get it out of the way?
No,
first?
let's save yours up. It's better.
All right.
Let's build up your thing.
Right.
When you hear it, it's incredible. I've only heard. You won't believe what Andrew's done this week.
Richard wrote most of the Guardian guide How to Write Comedy, which was free with the newspaper.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, right. People there already know how to write comedy because
You'd
they've
think
read
there'd be
it.
more Guardian readers in here, wouldn't you? You would think it would be packed.
Yeah. Is there anybody here not a Guardian reader? What on earth are you doing in here? For God's sake. So the Guardian, because they feel really guilty about putting their cover price up on Saturdays from £1.50 to £1.60, have been laughing at all of you by giving away things that didn't actually cost very much to produce to make you feel, hey, this is good value for money. My Guardian's got a free booklet in it about wine. Although this week, ironically, they became rather good because they were about how to write. Although today's says on the front of the Guardian, how to write journalism. I don't know about you, but that to me seems like bad English. How to write journalism. Anyway,
at least on this one they do put introduced by Simon Jenkins.
Yeah.
They learnt their lesson later in the week.
On Monday, when the book How to Write Comedy was written by my colleague and
Friend?
No, colleague Richard Herrin, on the front, and in fact the whole top of the paper on Monday had a big picture of Catherine Tate, and it said How to Write Comedy, Catherine Tate. It didn't say introduction by Catherine Tate. It said How to Write Comedy, Catherine Tate. Here's a picture of Catherine Tate. She's been on the television. Richard Herring hasn't for a while. So we will use that fact. Yeah, exactly. We will use that fact.
I'm doing a podcast in a fucking pub. On a computer. I haven't even got proper recording through Arnie. My wife is... There it is, security there.
Listen,
people love them.
The insult, the ultimate insult, is that Richard had put a lot of work into that book, and I've read it, and I, as a non-partisan member of the public, would say it's a very good book and very useful book, full of tips on how to write comedy, how to write stand-up, how to write a sitcom. It's fantastic. And yet it was advertised as if Catherine Tate had fucking written it, which she hadn't.
And let's see what the first line...
Now let's see the cover first, Richard. Let's see the cover. Look at the cover. Look at the cover of the How to Write Comedy Guide. It cannot be with the Guardian.
That's not the real
That is
cover.
so dishonest.
He's stuck a picture of Catherine Tate on the front. It was a picture of a banana, and he's covered up. Catherine Tate's advice about writing comedy. This is how it starts.
Hush.
Writing always means not writing to me, because I'll do anything to put it off. That is her advice. That is how you write, by not writing.
Catherine Tate. Which pub is she doing a podcast in? Not as nice a pub as we're doing one in regenerated King's Cross in London.
No, I think it's actually unfair on Catherine Tate because it makes if you loved Catherine Tate, imagine that, and you wanted to know how she wrote comedy, you would have got for the Guardian to find it as written by some nobody called Richard Herring.
You've never heard of.
So
it looks more like a woman than Catherine Tate.
I don't give any.
That was supposed to be a call, Richard. The thing that I did this week, Catherine Tate can claim no credit for, because I really did it. I wrote to, via the email, which you may have noticed is a quicker way
What
of sending a
exists?
letter. Well,
You may have noticed there's this new thing, it's email.
it's great. It's quicker than letters. I sent an email to the company that produced the cat food that I've been feeding my cat. Because
I told you it was good. I just wrote a guide to comedy in the Guardian newspaper. This is nothing. I knew my place.
But he did that for money. I did mine for the love of my cat.
You did it for free cat food. Come on. Carry on. What?
The cat food that I have been feeding my cat for quite a while, they have clearly changed the recipe of the cat food. They changed the packet, which is a bit of fluff. We expect that. That's cosmetic. But when you get inside the packet, the cat food usually slides out. It's a pouch. Usually slides out with the jelly. Just slides out.
What cat food is it?
So I don't want to advertise them on our podcast.
I think we should.
They've let me down, Richard. They've let me down.
Carry on.
That's okay. Anyway, they changed the formulation. I didn't ask me, didn't ask my cat, and my cat doesn't like it. It took about a week for her to just go, look, you keep giving me this stuff. It looks a bit like the old stuff, but it's no good to me. I'm not eating it. And walks away. And that's a very sad thing. I don't want my cat to walk away from the food. So I wrote a very friendly, very civil email to the customer services email address that was on the website. And I said, I asked, actually, have you changed the formulation as well as the packaging? Because my cat doesn't like it, and I'm very sad about this because I like your products and I've been buying them for about a year. So I got an email back the next day.
About a year? It goes way back to 2007.
You lie. You lie.
Or early 2008.
No, Richard. You lie and you lose the moral high ground. I was honest.
We wouldn't want to lose that customer, would we? He's been buying cat food. That's probably almost 40 packets of cat food he's bought.
I got an email back the next day from the customer services manager who wrote me, frankly, an email that could go to anybody. She was saying, we always strive to provide a good service for our customers. We're very unhappy if our customers are unhappy with the
Does it mean the cats or the human beings who buy it? Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, the customers are surely the cats.
The cats don't pay
So that
money.
means that woman is striving to make a cat happy. Which
Yes.
I think that's an impossible feat. A cat will never be happy in the way that we humans understand it.
But Richard,
Yeah.
a cat's mouth falls naturally into a smile.
Thank God it wasn't a
Cat lovers
cat's
will know this is true.
Thank God it wasn't a cat's cock.
A cat's cock.
Falls naturally into a smile.
He just adds the word cock into a sentence, and that's why he's a professional
It's about
comedian.
filleting a cat. There's nothing funnier than that. There is one thing funnier than that. It's a fat woman falling out of a hammock, and that is it.
So the lady wrote back to me and said all these things which are supposed to ameliorate my problems and make me feel better. And then she said,
Don't you explain what ameliorate means to this audience knew that ameliorate meant make things get better. You patronised them.
What? I didn't explain it.
You did. You said she'll ameliorate the problems, make them get better. You didn't say ameliorate. You said ameliorate.
Yeah.
Sorry
for patronising you, everybody. But I don't think that you'll laugh if I just add the word cock into a sentence. He doesn't mind being ameliorated or patronised. Anyway, the woman wrote back to me with all these very, very, very helpful words, which actually could have been to anybody who complained about anything. And she said, if you're not happy with the product, tell us the name of the stockist, you can take it back, they'll give you the money back. But I'd asked her a question. I asked her if it had been reformulated. It didn't say on the packet that it had been. I didn't just complain. She said, we're sorry to hear of your complaint. It wasn't a complaint. It was a nice, friendly email about the product.
See why I thought this was important.
We're building up to this.
Well, it gets better.
It gets
even better.
It gets even better. And then, after all this nonsense that she's just spilling out, which could have come from a computer, she suddenly said, we really appreciate your comments on the cat food in question. We have taken them on board immediately, and we are already reformulating that product. Now, I don't think that's true. Because if you would reformulate an entire product that is produced industrially, because of one person, and you're a fucking idiot. So I think she's a liar.
I don't think
give you a name.
I think that no one has ever emailed them about their cat food because, you know, it's cat food. Most people aren't really bothered about the quality of it. If their cat doesn't eat it, they either go, oh well, throw it away, or just leave it there until it eats it. Because it will eventually eat it. It's not a spoiled, pampered little cat like yours. You're the first person that's ever emailed and they've gone, fucking hell, someone doesn't like the thing. You know, if one person puts on iTunes, Andrew Collins sounds like he's Mr. Bean, then you were worried about it for weeks and you go to a voice training coach saying, how can I make my voice less like Mr. Bean's voice? You're the same as Whiskers cat food, whoever it is. I don't even know who it is.
It's not Whiskers, Richard.
Okay, well, this is a clever way of finding out who it is. Don't tell him what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I only know the name of one cat food.
That narrows it down.
Mr. Dog. Oh, that's it. And then it changed.
I just don't want to advertise them on the podcast. If I was sitting here talking to some people in the room, I wouldn't mind saying. But
Why don't you have Whiskers? Whiskers is the best.
Whiskers is
Why don't you
about
get Whiskers?
30% meat. What's it made? It's made of cereal.
Was it Felix cat food that you were having?
That's also made of about 30%.
So it's not Felix cat food. Was it homeopathic?
Yes. Oh yeah.
But it's just some water.
It's some water, yeah.
Which once has a tiny bit of cat food in it.
It's some water that was once.
That's why they're actually eating it. You've got to put some for actual food. When you say it's 30% meat, you're actually saying that's way too much meat. It should be 100% water with the memory of some meat in it.
This is what
spoil the cat.
I'm a soft target here because nobody believes in homeopathy except for me, which is really an unusual position to be in.
It is for an intelligent person.
Listen,
for an otherwise clear-thinking, rational individual. Let's move on to the news.
By the way,
homeopathy might work.
That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. I will live in that grey area and be very happy there. I emailed the woman back and said, thank you very much for your swift reply, but you have not answered my original question, which was, have you reformulated
She's
it?
fucking remaking the cat food for you, but you've got to say, is that not enough for you?
It's
not right to the break. Oh, fucking hell. We just chucked some meat together into a can, a pouch.
A pouch, Richard.
Carry on, let's go on to the news.
There's a story in the Daily Mail which says this in the headline. A funeral on a Saturday, only if you're a Muslim. Yeah.
And you're dead.
Pretty standard. You'd think they'd like a dead Muslim, but no.
You'd think they would like it.
Yeah, they, not me. I don't like one. The family of a 75-year-old man were refused permission to bury him on a Saturday because he's not a Muslim, says the Daily Mail. Well, let's not read any further, because then we'll exist in a world where that is true and everything will be okay, because we've got clear battle lines drawn. But no, if you read down further, basically Sheffield City Council offers an extended service to Jews and Muslims. So what they actually mean is, on a funeral on a Saturday, only if you're a Jew or a Muslim. But that's not quite such a good headline, is it? That's not quite such an easy headline to digest for the idiots who read the Daily Mail. Why didn't they just put a funeral on a Saturday, only if you're a Jew? Because then I want to think, hang on a minute, am I reading the Daily Mail in 1938? Oh no, it's 2008. A lot of time has passed. So they've changed the enemy, haven't they? They've changed the enemy. The enemy now is a Muslim. He used to be a Jew.
So I'm very sorry, I don't know what's happened. It's usually very well behaved. I'm not sure what point he's making.
I don't know.
I think he was pro-Jews and Muslims somewhere.
It was pro-togetherness.
I think it was the Daily Mail striking it. Let the Muslims bury their people on a Saturday if they want to.
I think that's fine. Let everybody bury people on a Saturday if they want.
But all religion is shit, though, isn't it?
That is
so
true.
in a way,
yeah, that is true.
In a way, the church should go, no, fuck off. Oh, hold on, we're the church. We'll have to reassess our.
They never say fuck off the church.
But it must be. What place is this? Is it like a graveyard of everyone?
In Sheffield.
In Sheffield, they just put everyone in together.
It's like a drive-through graveyard. Just chuck them out the window and they'll be buried later, but only if it's a Jew or a Muslim.
It's good to give every religion a different day to bury the people, because the religions hate each other.
That's true.
If a Muslim's burying over there, and then someone over there is a Christian, they might see the Muslim and go, I hate Muslims, why are they believing that?
It'd be like Manchester United supporters and Manchester City supporters being in the same place at the same
worse,
time.
with a kind of...
Worse.
Well, holy...
Yeah, worse than that. Imagine that. Worse than that.
Manchester United can't really claim that God has chosen Manchester United to be better. All they can say is, I like them.
Yeah, but they do claim
I
that.
like the colour red better than blue.
Yeah.
It's not a divine thing.
What we should all take a lesson, I think, from Paul McCartney. He was interviewed on Sky News this morning when he arrived in Tel Aviv, and they said, Paul, you know, you've had a lot of criticism for playing Israel and not Palestine, and the Beatles were not allowed to come here in 1965 because you were considered to be a corruptive influence. So what do you have to say about this, frankly, complicated issue? And he just said, I'm just here for peace, and held up two fingers like that. Right? Now, if only we were all as shallow as Paul McCartney, the Middle East will be solved like that!
But you know the reason the Beatles couldn't play in Israel was because Cliff Richard had played there, and they decided they didn't want anyone else coming back. It's actually Cliff Richard came, and they thought this is a dangerous force.
Here's a little joke from The Sun in their Have a Laugh section. It's very funny. Sun readers send in their jokes. This is actually quite good. It says, I found the local gym and asked if they could teach me how to do the splits. Unlikely, but that's what happened. And they asked, how flexible are you? And I said, well, I can't make Tuesdays. So that's a proper joke, Richard. Imagine selling something like that on stage.
I think they say, well, we don't really do that. It's kind of, you can come and use the equipment. You want personal training, you can do that, but it's not really, don't really teach you how to do the splits. That's not part of the person. We help you on the machines. You want to go on, we'll show you how to use the weights to run the machine. They ask me how flexible I am. Well, what do you mean, physically?
That's how Stuart Lee would do it.
having spent 15 years at my knee learning the craft.
At your knee, Richard?
Yep.
Stuart Lee's jokes never get in the sun, though, And that man's
They do. What about Jerry Spring the Opera? That got the front page. His jokes are just saying cunt and fuck. I find that's a bit childish.
Who says that?
Yeah, it's just fucking fun. Just because you sing it, that doesn't make it funny, does it?
The lyrics.
They sat down, what should we do? What word should we write to? Fuck? Should we write fuck and just get someone to sing it in a posh voice? Yes, I think that will work. That's his job, anyone could do that. Then I will direct it. That's what I'm stupid.
We are putting this out. You realise that? Well, he's one person you can be sure won't be listening. He's too busy.
He'll be annotating it all and it will turn up in the next series.
It's a big day today.
What is it? Why?
It's the day when all the pretty girls get their A-level results. This time tomorrow, all the newspapers, and we'll be talking about this, will be full of pictures of pretty girls getting their A-level results.
For a 44-year-old man to make that statement. Go down to school, there'll be in a sense of excitement or disappointment. I can then just, either way, I can just come and go, guys, all right, come on, get in my car. I just wanted to talk to you about some of your options now. You failed. I can help you out.
I'm not going down there, Richard.
Come and PA on. I do a podcast. I don't know if you've heard it, Collings Herrin podcast. You can come and be the PA on it and make tea and stuff.
They'll be just trying to get to you though via me. I know that.
They're 18 years old. I'm a 42-year-old man. What do you think I am? Some kind of monster?
Yes, I do think you're some kind of monster. The newspapers are. I imagine the picture editors of all the newspapers are middle-aged men. Possibly monsters.
You get so excited about this. It's the typical.
I'm not excited about it.
Look at the newspapers, full of pictures of girls with no clothes on. Oh, I'm so offended.
They've always got clothes on.
But I will carry on looking at those ones. Whenever there's anything in the paper. Yesterday it was Keira Knightley. You got all excited about that. Her little braces strap.
I didn't get excited about
that.
You did.
I can see. It was embarrassing. There's
nothing happening down here. So anyway, I was trying to make a very serious observation or a satirical point about the fact that the newspapers...
How many CDs did you sell?
Yesterday?
Yeah. You brought up, how many have you brought up, first of all,
don't make me say that.
How many did you bring up and you're going to get double this sent across as well?
No, I'm not going to anymore.
So, no, you're not going to now. How many did you bring up?
I brought two boxes. You brought two boxes up for me.
How many in each box?
I think there are 14 in each box.
So that's 28.
28. I've got 28 audiobooks.
You need to sell 5 or 6 a day to get rid of all
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, so how many sales?
Yesterday.
How many sales were there?
I sold upwards of 0. Downwards of 2.
So you got one.
Yeah, a really nice bloke bought one off me, and I said, I will only sell this to you if you promise me you're not doing it out of sympathy.
And he said he wasn't. Really hit your sales. I think you've got to take the sympathy.
I'd rather not, Richard. I'd only want to sell it to someone who actually wants it.
So, we can break the tempting tap, but we can also break Andrew Collins' supply of talking books.
Yeah.
They're books and they talk. They're amazing.
They are amazing.
You open them up. Hello. Which book would you like to hear? I'm a magic book. I can read any book in the world.
Can you read one book?
Can I have Andrew Collins? Where did everything go wrong? Really? No one's ever asked for that before. You can have any book. I can read it. No, I want Andrew Collins. Okay. Do I have to do it in a Mr. Bean voice?
It's not in a Mr. Bean voice. It's in my proper reading voice.
I can't imagine anything. I've got a copy. I got it for free.
That will never be touched or troubled. That'll be pristine. I might bury it in a mine somewhere. It'll be the last vestige. Imagine that's the last thing of the human race that's found in a billion years' time.
That'd be really
informative.
They
find that down.
And
they find, they go, he must have been the most amazing historical man of his time.
He was.
Dear me.
You better find out in that book how many A levels I got.
Oh yeah, because you do. Yeah.
How many did I get? I got.
Do you remember the day you got your A levels?
I do. Yeah, you couldn't move for pretty girls down at the A level depot where we had to go and get our results from. I got.
Do you want to explain, just in case we don't get that? That's because people in the papers, there's always pictures.
I thought it was pretty fairly obvious. The Daily Telegraph.
I think it just makes you sound like a pervert, personally. That's mine.
Because I'm not one. I don't think of those things.
Every man.
The Daily Telegraph particularly loves the A-level day.
You find me a 40-year-old man who isn't excited about the ideas of loads of 18-year-old girls and opening envelopes. I'll show you.
They do get flushed with happiness when they find out they've all passed, because everyone passes now. I don't know whether you notice this.
It's getting a bit flushed.
Talking of kids,
yeah.
Children, kids in other words, will mingle with paedophiles and violent offenders at a summer fete at a psychiatric
That doesn't
hospital.
seem like a good idea. Whoever came up with this, I don't know if they thought through what they were doing.
This is in the Daily Record's What's On This Weekend. It's at Bellsdyke Hospital in Stirlingshire. I don't know about you, but I'm looking for somewhere to go with the kids. Hospitals are on top of my list. Bosses have invited local families to the event on Saturday afternoon to enjoy a bouncy castle, fire engine. They're going to enjoy a fire engine.
Yeah.
Good. And tombola, watched by a string of sex offenders. So they're inviting the kids, but they're going to also invite the sex offenders just to watch while they play on a fire engine.
If you want to play on a bouncy castle while a row of men masturbates.
I think that this has not been
like
thought
that.
through, but that's the story.
Why are they doing that?
I don't know.
There must be more
I'll
information.
keep reading. An insider said, there are 30 patients who are usually on the secure ward, and they're all expected to be allowed out for the fete. It's absolute madness. I'm waiting for them to say it's political correctness gone bad. We're effectively inviting... not just effectively. You can actually drop that word. We're inviting children to have a shot on a bounty castle. They're giving them shots! You can't give a baby shots. And they're all expected to be allowed out for the fete. They're having a shot on the bounty castle while paedophiles spectate. I don't know. I don't think anyone's taken their kids to this fete. I think this could be a fate worse than death.
I'm glad you're all here. It just saves me a lot of time. Should we go?
No, I'll just keep it going. Yeah, we could. Let's go down.
I want to be in the paedophile spectating section.
Yeah, that'd be more fun, wouldn't it? It doesn't say where you can get that option, but I think it should. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going. You just have a chat to the audience.
To see what you're going to say.
A spokesman said, Bellsdyke Hospital is a well-established part of the local community. We have held many successful events over the years, which have involved paedophiles lining up to watch kids drinking vodka on a bouncy castle.
Only 5 children have been killed in these events.
Well, listen, I've bought a new big issue today. As you know, I got it yesterday.
They bring them out every day.
I said to the man, they come out every day.
Did you get it from the window? Hey, get that big! Don't pay it from anyone but me!
He's a friendly man, the man I got it from.
I'd say that's a better tactic than
What?
selling the big issue. You got me! You want the big issue! Take it from me!
I really do think they should move with the times. They could sell more if they gave them away. That's what they do with the newspapers in London now. You're all free.
Yeah.
So, if the big issue want to compete, they're going to have to make it free, which won't help the homeless people. But it will
That
help
is the flaw. I'm glad you spotted it.
But it will help their self-esteem. Anyway, this guy...
By saying what I'm doing is worthless. I met a guy who's, we asked people where they listen to the podcast.
Yes.
I met a guy who came to see my show last night. He's actually one of the technicians at the Underbelly, and said he listened to the podcast whilst constructing the Underbelly. That's quite a good one.
What, literally putting it
They
together?
have to put all the stages together, don't they, and the lights up and stuff. These aren't here all the time, These lights, they don't have to have them here. This is something else in the year.
But what is it, though? I'd like to know, really, what it is. It's like the sort of
Someone will tell
Anne
us.
Frank cellar, isn't it? Well, it's up in
What's
the top
that?
of
Anne Frank. It's a version of Anne Frank mixed with Joseph Fritzl, is it? Anne Frank cellar. Lesser known.
Where was she in the
I was
house?
down the cellar for a little while. I didn't like it.
I can't
might
remember.
find this then. That's the first place the
It's
Nazis will look.
ages.
I know where we'll go. The attic. No one will think of looking up there.
I haven't seen the film for ages. I can't
It's
remember.
a real story. A girl died. A teenage girl
You
died.
know, they make real things about real things.
I know. It's
Man on Wire was about a real thing.
It was.
It was about a man on a wire. Anyway, so not the cellar. It's a bit like her attic. She was somewhere not in the main building, wasn't she? The key was she was hidden, and it will be a good place to hide.
Yeah.
Not right now, obviously, because we would see her. I saw
love you. Good.
I saw Richard in his.
I'm glad you do.
Saw Richard in his
Glad
dressing
you
gown
love
this
me. I'm
morning.
not going to say.
And it was
How was
weird
that?
to see Richard in his dressing gown with the Hitler moustache. It's perfectly. See, I've got used to him in normal clothes, but actually see him sitting around in a dressing gown as Hitler was really weird. I've never thought of Hitler in that way.
Well, Hitler had to presumably
Yeah,
do
but
that.
he was very
I bet
fastidious.
he had a dressing gown.
He probably did have a very nice dressing gown made from the skin of.
I'd be interested to see where this is going.
Of an elk.
We may.
A mighty elk bounding up a mountainside.
What religion was this?
Elks see no religion. They have no God. They are all atheists.
Good. Well, they are. Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
In the sense that they have no
Move on
concept.
from that. I was thwarted this morning. I hate myself and I want to die again
I think we're
today.
close to getting an edit in today's show.
You're the one doing a show about it. I'm just trying to,
Yeah, I'm doing a show about making dressing gowns out of the skin.
He is not the only person to make things out of skin.
Let's move on from that rather unpleasant story.
Perv Rap Coach is actually a sports coach, not a coach that on wheels, but a sports coach, who's charged with abusing gymnasts. Quite
Oh,
specific.
good. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done the
There's a
Jews.
serial-
Now let's move on to sexual
It's a
abuse.
serious story.
I don't think we're meant to do serious stories in this. Why are you doing a story about child abuse?
Because there's an interesting little aspect to it which you'll
Well, I
hear
can't-
if you carry on
It was
listening.
funny yesterday
rather
we were
than
talking
talking.
about the paedophiles at the fete. That was all right. That was
Why?
that was the acceptable space of
Wasn't it?
child abuse because no one had actually been abused yet.
All right. But we were
They will be,
basically
obviously.
imagining what it'd be
Tom
like.
Bowler's in massive trouble. When,
He said he's called.
why not try and let's go on to the Lockerbie bomber next in Scotland? Let's try and get some humour out of that in Scotland
Well,
today.
we can't get any out of it. But
They'll
I
love
think,
that.
I think
Our Scotch audience will love that.
they will. Yeah.
If they can just stop puking whiskey up into the gutter for 1 minute to hear what's happened. Come on, let's get your joke on it, Andrew. Let's see you do a joke about
I'm
it.
not doing a joke on it, and we are not going to cover it because it's not a subject.
What about the perv coach, man?
I think that the Sun's headline is supposed to be funny.
Right.
I'm not going to say what it is.
I'll say it. Abomination.
Do you not think that's supposed to be a pun?
Could be. It's
It's
poor.
the Sun, but I don't think there's a time and a place for a
It's
pun
poorly-
headline. I think this is probably not the time and a place for that, but they've done it anyway, so should be shocked. Anyway, this perv rap coach, who's called Mitchell Dolphin, which is quite nice. He's called Mitchell Dolphin, which kind of gives the impression to be really nice.
That's how he gets the kids to.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Hey, it's me, Mitch Dolphin. Well, we're getting some laughs out of the story. So,
Anyway, he's saying that
I'll be
I'm
interested
not
to
going to go
see
into any
where
more
it's
detail.
going.
No,
What?
the whole point
why
is
have you brought it up?
because he says that having somebody sit on your knee is not sexual. That's the only reason I brought it up. This is why it's even in the papers. So he's redrawing the lines on what is and what isn't sexual. And he is saying,
I
I'm
wish
saying...
I'd checked with you before you.
You
He
would
gets
hate-
up to Edinburgh and he goes a bit too lally, doesn't he? You know, he kind of loses all control in front of an audience. I just would like to apologise for... look, that man's thinking of leaving, he's so upset. I think he's trying to sit on the knee of that girl next to him.
You
It's
can,
not
okay.
sexual
No, you
assault,
can.
it's not.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. That Mitchell Dolphin said so. Do you know the truth of the matter is?
What?
That's not why I took that page out. I've just realised. I was going to do this story down here, but I forgot. Sorry.
I think today's podcast might be 30 seconds long.
I thought this was good.
You were out late last night, Andy.
Yeah, I was out watching Edwin Collins. It's very nice. 10 firefighters. This is a great story. 10 firefighters.
Raped a child.
Imagine that. That would be so awful. Pew, Barney McGoo.
Remember that? You remember everything. Are you as old as time itself? You're about 20 years old. How can you remember Camberwick Green? You really picked it up when you went into that abuse, the excuse of that paedophiles can use. If they're sitting on your knee, it doesn't count. If there are any paedophiles listening today, do remember, just sitting on your knee doesn't count.
Doesn't count. No, doesn't count.
Remember that.
Yeah.
As long as you don't rub anything against them, it's fine.
Did I tell you about the time when my brother and I used to play? We used to go down the field at the bottom of the road.
No, don't tell us.
No, nothing bad happens. Nothing terrible happens. We used to go down the field at the bottom of the road.
Did a man give you a
lollipop? A man in a van started to come.
What?
Pathetic. He started to arrive on a regular basis with 2 other boys.
What?
Yeah, I know. 2 other boys in the back of the van.
This isn't the time to tell them. In front of all these people, clearly something has triggered some forgotten, repressed memory. The 2 other boys, and then they made us.
They had a game. They had a game that they played, a version of cricket, which was
Sit on my knee.
Yeah. And he said,
"This is the wicket here. You have to try it."
He said, "Would you boys like to join in with our game?"
Yeah.
And me and my brother said, "Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do that." We were guileless, young, innocent kids.
What happened?
We played this game a couple of times, and then at half time in the game, we went up to the van, and he had some squash ready diluted in a bottle, which he thought was pretty exotic. He had it already diluted.
Yeah, of course he
and
did.
he poured it out, and he had some plastic cups.
Yeah, of
we
course
had
he
a little
did.
cup of
That's
orange
the first,
in the van.
Prepared. And he said, "Help me get this sofa up into the van." I've broken my arm.
And the game that
Getting a bit sleepy, are you? That's good, Andrew. Drink all the orange juice. Drink it down! I know it tastes bitter. Drink it! Yeah, what happened then?
The game that he taught
played.
us,
Yeah.
do you know what it was called? This is what it was called.
Yeah.
Puttocks, right? He said, he said, we'll be back. He said, we had a nice game of puttocks.
Is that when you combine a penis with some butter?
He came, well, it's a funny name, don't you think? Funny name to give to a made-up game. And then he came back. We had a lovely game. He gave us some orange. He took the boys off, not us. And then he said, we'll be back here
the
next...
boys going, help us, please! Help us escape! You went back merrily to your...
He said, we'll be here this time next week, we'll play puttocks again. He went, yeah, right. And when we got home, my brother, who was younger than me, he told Mum all about Mr. Atkins and the boys, and he said that he showed us how to play puttocks. And she literally thought that he said he showed us his puttocks. So even though he wasn't a paedophile, and was in fact...
He might have been, he was putting the work, he was putting the groundwork in.
And he was recruiting.
That's what they do.
He was recruiting for a Christian youth group.
Well,
it turns out.
That's not suspicious. That's the last person you expect to be a paedophile.
Because he had stupidly called the game puttocks, my brother
You've
said
named him as well, Mr. Atkins now.
Well, that's because he's not a paedophile, so it's okay to... Anyway, Mr. They'll never track him down, will they? He'll be dead.
Mr. Puttocks Atkins, everyone knows.
He works for a Christian youth group.
He'll
He's
be
perfectly
dead.
innocent. Well, he might.
Well, he'd been killed in prison.
Yeah, it's the one thing they hate in prison, is a Christian. But if he hadn't called the game puttocks, and just called it cricket, then my brother would never have said puttocks in front of my mum, and she would have not then had to tell us never to go and play with him again.
Well, it was right not to. You should never take orange. If there are any children,
never take orange.
If there are any young children listening to this podcast, probably it's a bad idea that you've listened this far. So don't accept drinks off it. We don't even accept drinks off our audience for fear of them hitting us.
People, if people want to bring us food, it has to be completely sealed up.
No, I don't want any. I'm not eating anything that's given to me by men.
No, not mine.
They disgust me.
Anyway.
And yes, we're in Cardiff, people at home. This is... How are you, Cardiff? All right?
Tidy.
Tidy.
Did you used to say that before, Gavin and Stacey? Yeah, I thought you did. They nicked it off you, those Welsh people.
They must be very pleased. What's occurring?
Yeah.
But we were up early yesterday, and I went and walked around town. I didn't find it's amazing. The new, it's like you've been bombed by the IRA, but you haven't even been bombed by the IRA. You've got a brand new. So well done to you. There's a new shopping centre. It's beautiful, but I missed that yesterday and went to the old shopping centre and discovered that in Cardiff, I never knew this, they actually have a harp shop, which is just embarrassingly ridiculous, Cardiff. It just, living up to your stereotype, the harp is so popular in Wales. It doesn't even sell any other musical instruments, just harps and strings and seats to sit on, probably little stupid witches' hats cut off, little loom. There might be some looms in the back.
Presumably this shop was set up by a patronising English person.
I think it was. Look, I know what they're like.
They'll love this.
Have you got a harp, mate? No, you haven't got a harp. Tell you where you want to get, down to the arcade.
Yeah.
Harps Are Us, it's called.
Yeah.
So
That's where the harp is.
It's what? Tell him so. Stop harping on, Andrew. And that's
much worse than
I know, but I'm funnier than you, so it's all in the delivery. So that was exciting too. It's next door to the sheep brothel, so you should find it very.
Was that an ironic?
It was an ironic piece of stereotype. You should be ashamed of having a harp shop and for eating seaweed. Grow up. Get some wheat in your bread. Don't have to put seaweed in your bread anymore. There's wheat now. Get out of the sea. What are you doing in the sea? I've got some good. Oh, boy, I got some good seaweed.
That's good. That's good.
For my bread.
That's good.
Just have some proper bread.
That's too good.
Stop eating.
That is the best impression you've ever done.
I'm good. I do all the accents. I can do Scottish. Hey, what are you doing? That was Scottish.
That's more insulting.
The Welsh one is Pakistani as well, so it works
yeah.
out. That's two for the price
Very
of one.
handy, yeah. It's very handy.
I should be on TV. There's loads of comedians on. We were just watching TV. They're all acting. That should be me. I can do Welsh, Scotch. I can do the lot.
We're watching EastEnders. Somebody on EastEnders.
It's tidy. Pub we come.
I think it's disappointing when that your words are a bit like the English words. They should be much less like the English words. Because Millennium I saw on the side of the stadium, that's almost the same. Get a better word. You don't want our words. Our words are shit.
Don't patronise them both ways. That's
I've
double,
got a Welsh
that's
story
double
here.
patronising.
I'm going to patronise you
Fuck
with
off and speak English. You know you all do anyway.
You want... Yeah, this is at the South Wales.
What a waste of signing it is here in...
I've
Just
got
choose one and stick with it. What's wrong with you? That's what we've done. English. No one speaks Welsh in England. The signs are only in English. Choose one. Decide now.
And Polish.
We got Polish.
We got Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racist.
Proud of it. There's a story in the South
we're going straight
Wales...
into
No,
stories.
I'll just get this out of the way. It's local news.
Okay.
South Wales Echo suggests that you're all very excited about the fact that Stereophonics are going to play the Cardiff City Stadium this
assume
summer.
someone is.
Anybody excited?
Yeah, one bloke there.
One bloke actually said no.
No.
Well, this is not the reflection I'm getting from this massive two-page feature about Stereophonics, where they're standing with a football in the middle of the stadium, very proud to come back. They're not just doing it for Cardiff, they're doing it for Wales. And on the side here, to continue the celebratory theme of the Stereophonics playing, they've asked some fans who they would rather have playing it than the Stereophonics. That's what it says. So they said, who would you rather see playing the Stereophonics? Ryan Delaney, 20, student from Cardiff, says it will be amazing to see Blink 182. John Henner, 20, says definitely the Saturdays. This is interesting.
You can see Welsh people any day of the week.
He says
Let's see some 18-year-old girls in coloured tights.
That's what John Henner wants to see.
Yeah,
he says definitely not because I like them as a band, but because I want to be close to them.
So that I can rape them all.
Yeah, I know.
One after the other.
And no better place than a stadium to do that. Kaylee Smith, 20, student from Cardiff. They haven't gone far, have they? They just asked 4 students. She says Biffy Clyro are my favourite band, so definitely them. Maybe the Kings of Leon and Snow Patrol. In other words, anybody but the Stereophonics. Nicola Jenkins also goes to Snow Patrol. Guess what she is? Student from Cardiff, yeah.
Which comedians would you rather have seen tonight rather than Collins?
I don't know if you heard last week's podcast, but on it, Richard Herring made a claim that he was going to, as his New Year's resolution, prepare more diligently for the podcast. And he has written some things down in a book, which
Yes.
is pretty good going, actually.
Thank you.
So I don't know how that will affect it. I hope it doesn't affect it too much.
I don't understand that. I thought that said hard shop. It took me a long time to work out. It was harp shop, in fact.
You can put a tick next to that.
I didn't even put seaweed down. I just made that up. I'll take that.
What's the seaweed thing? I don't get that.
Oh, you love seaweed. You eat
It's
lava
good for you.
bread. They call it lava bread to make people think that they're hard and they're eating molten rock. But they're actually eating, just going in the sea, picking out seaweed. What's wrong with it? There are plants on the land. You don't live in a desert. There's actual food and stuff. An apple. Hungry, I'm going eating seaweed. It's like you're choosing to do it.
The sea
Taste
devils.
of fish.
They're in Doctor Who, weren't they?
You've seen what the state of Cardiff Bay is like out there? Have you seen what's in there? You're just downstream from Swansea. You don't eat anything that's been in the sea. God, I hate Swansea. I genuinely do hate Swansea. It's great. It's great coming to Cardiff.
He really does.
I really do. I really like Cardiff, and I hate Swansea. They had to take a bit out of my book where I said that Swansea was shit. My new this coming out. So sorry to anyone who's from Swansea. Anyone in from Swansea?
Yeah. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree that it's shit?
You've come away from Swansea. You're the only sense. Who thinks Cardiff's better than Swansea? Cheer now. Who thinks Swansea's better than Cardiff? Cheer now. Oh, it's quite
Quite a
close.
few people.
Quite close.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Cardiff who actually quite like Swansea. Swansea is the only place I've been, and I've said this before, where I went into a hotel room and the toilet was in the same room as the bed. And that is... I've never seen that. I've never been to prison, so I've never seen... I was paying money to stay. It's in a little alcove that used to be a cupboard, but not a very deep cupboard, so most of the toilet was sticking out into the room. That was the best hotel room in Swansea.
Is it because what were you saying?
Was it the dolphin? It might well have been the dolphin.
Dolphin.
I didn't stay. I actually escaped from.
Is that the best hotel in Swansea? The Dolphin. Is that the big?
I think it's renowned for its toilet in the bedroom. Yeah. The convenience. Why not just have the toilet in the middle of the bed? Yeah. Then you don't even have to get up at night. Just shit in the bed.
In the middle.
Do a little hole. They could have a little hole in the middle.
Yeah.
And take that out. Put it on your lava bread from the morning.
Is it because a lot of people in Swansea have been to prison and therefore feel more comfortable in that particular style of room?
I'll tell you what, we're never going to fucking play Swansea now, which is a fucking blessing, I have to say.
People from Swansea are here.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm not one of those bullshit comedians who comes and goes like you did. I came in and I love Wales.
But I actually do love Wales. I love Swansea as well.
I don't. I hate Swansea.
I like Swansea.
Do you?
Yeah. Idiot. It's really nice. I was going to compare...
Do your funny thing. Do your funny visual thing.
I say funny, and it is visual, but I'll explain it to you if you can't see it in the back. It was 2 front pages from Monday, actually, not today's news, but it was important, I think, how the week began in 2 different types of newspaper. They used to be called the broadsheet and the tabloid. Now they're all tabloids in shape, but I think you can see they're very different in style. The Independent, which is free in the hotel we're staying at, said it's got this very grey front cover, lots of white space on it, and it's quite serious. Well, not quite, it's very serious. It says, we are not giving up, we will dig for as long as it takes. They've obviously got somebody on the spot in Haiti, and the story begins on the front page. You see, it's so important. You know how it's all headlines and stuff, not the Independent. They begin the story on the front page, halfway up a mountain of rubble on the site of what was once a 3-storey apartment, and on it goes, and you turn inside, you get the real story. That's the Independent. That was how the Independent chose to begin the news week, right? This, however, was the Daily Mirror, which, on the same day, I'm not sure if you can see it, nearly the whole of the front page is taken up with an advert which says, free today, chicken and bacon lattice from Greg's the baker. It says in a big red splash, get free food all this week. Right? There are people, I don't know if they'd heard about this, but there's some people in another place in the world who can't eat and they're under rubble, but it's okay, because we're getting free food all this week from Greg's the baker, chicken and bacon lattice. And then there's a picture of Amanda Holden standing next to her, that lattice with a bikini on. Did somebody just whistle really badly? That is a Daily Mirror reader. And then underneath there's a story about Sky, who are their enemies, losing viewing figures. That's the whole of the front page. They don't even notice there's an earthquake. Well, but there you go. But anyway, you need a bit of distraction. And there it is. Free chicken and bacon lattice. So I hope that everybody who got their free chicken and bacon lattice sent it to Haiti.
They could build a house out of it. They could
It looks like it would survive an earthquake.
It does. It's like it survived a nuclear attack.
So there you go. In a funny sort of way, tabloids are quite different to broadsheets.
There, you've spotted that. That's our take on the news.
Ben Elton style observation.
Well done.
That is a great story. Have you seen? It's a great story from the Sun. I think it's the Sun. Basically, the scandal is it's the HSBC cash machine in Whitchurch in Hampshire. Hampshire. The cash machine in Whitchurch in Hants is 18 inches off the ground. It doesn't explain why this is, but it is true, and it's the only one. So they've got some helpful pictures in the Sun today of a lady kneeling down to use it, which is pretty embarrassing. But look, there it is. She's leaning down. Look, she's kneeling down to use it. There it is. Look. So what the Sun have done? They've found a dwarf who lives in Whitchurch, and basically they found one. It's a perfect fit for 4'6" Brian Wheeler, 47, right? And there he is, happily going. Well, he's the only person in Whitchurch for whom it is ideally positioned. This cash machine, and it's brilliant. It says Britain's lowest cash point. Maybe they're trying to get that honour, for the town. Britain's lowest cash point suits one resident just fine. The local dwarf. That's what it says, and dwarf is in capital letters, just to make sure you laugh. The local dwarf. But anyway, Brian, right? You'll like this. Brian, you'll probably know this already. Brian Wheeler. You recognise the name, Brian Wheeler? Of course you do. He played an Ewok in Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. Do you remember the end of that, where the Death Star got blew up? That was brilliant.
Do you remember?
Wars joke. Do you remember that?
At the end, do you remember?
Brilliant.
At the end of where the Death Star, there was a mechanical fault, wasn't it? And the Death Star it didn't blow up. There was a small fire. It was put out.
That's right. Yeah. But it was a difficult life for them. Brian says, this is great. What they do with the story in the Sun is, the story's in the picture. You've seen the picture. There's a little man and a cash point. That's the story. But they feel that the need, some contractual reason to put some words next to it. And they basically say what you already know loads of times. And it says, the cash point is the right height. Right? That's good. Okay, we get that. And this is what he says. He says, doing my banking has never been easier. I love the idea that it was really hard before.
It must have been quite hard before.
You had to get someone to hold
things
it
like
up.
this, how do dwarves get, there's people who are dwarves.
Yeah, but
he's a bit of an embarrassed dwarf. Dwarves can get any acting job they want, basically. The best they've got is one of the Ewoks. He must be right at the back of it. He's not... He's not been in anything at all good, has he? The Ewok.
It's a good film to be in.
It is, but it's one of the Ewoks. That's all he's got.
You'd have to wear the Ewok.
Career. It's like they're going, fuck. We haven't got enough. We need another dwarf. I can't really act. It's all right. You stand right near the back. Yeah. We'll just give you this teddy bear to put on your head. And
do a casting call in Whitchurch. There's bound to be at least one, and there is. Brian Wheeler, 47. He says, doing my banking has never been easier. The ATM, we don't say ATM in this country. I think they've added that in because they couldn't fit the whole thing. The ATM is knee height for everybody else, but for me, it's for eye level. I know, just see the picture. You can see the picture. Don't keep telling us.
Because I am short.
Because I am little, and I was an Ewok. We should wear the Ewok costume all around town. Then he'd get recognised, wouldn't he? Anyway, and what's the headline? Can anyone guess what the headline was? Short chain.
I've just been to see another show. I've seen 2 shows this year.
Have you?
And
this year?
One of the shows this year at the Edinburgh Fringe. Obviously, I've seen other shows, my own. I saw a show called Secret Dancing by Andrew Collins, who's, I think, ripping off your shtick there. It's nearly your name.
It's nearly my name.
It was rubbish. Really bad. I think it's someone someone sort of challenged and said, I'd like to see you do an hour on your own, and he thought, I'll show them, and you've proved that person correct. It is free and it is overpriced. I actually took some money out of the bucket on the way out and still felt shortchanged. There was one good bit.
One good bit.
When you fell off the stage.
I did fall off the stage.
That was my favourite.
I didn't fall off the stage.
And then tried to pretend it was part of the show. And then said, I'm going to stay. And the stage is like, 3 inches high?
3 feet high.
It's like a very tiny stage. So you just did a little pratfall, nearly landed on a lady in the front row.
Yeah.
I think it was your way of trying to get her to touch your bollocks, like someone that happens with the show. And then he said, I'm going to stay down here now and do it. But then you didn't. You got back up on stage.
Yeah, well.
You were trying to look all cool.
What you didn't tell the people here is
What?
that the public address system, or PA, had broken. So I had to do the entire show acoustically,
Yeah, wow.
using only the natural
that
acoustic of the
really
room.
must have seated 10 or 15 people. You had to project your voice almost 2 feet for everyone to hear it. It was the most amazing thing I've ever... It slightly curtailed your secret dancing, which requires music.
Yes, we couldn't play music and we couldn't have me amplified. So I think I did a valiant job
But
against...
you did say to people they could come and see it again another day for free. I'm sure they would love to do that, just to see 2 minutes at the end. Oh, I'll sit through all that shit again.
In secret, he said it was okay.
He thinks he's a proper comedian. He's swanning
He doesn't.
around. He comes back into the flat going, yeah, I'm a bit like Lenny Bruce now.
Yeah.
You know how Lenny Bruce must have felt when he did his routine about swearing,
Yeah.
saying fuck, because I did a routine about Surrey.
Yeah.
And some people didn't like, some people were offended and went, that is rude. About Surrey.
I need to share this with you in case you haven't seen...
Andrew Collins is doing a show called Secret Dancing.
Yeah.
This is the second time we've mentioned it.
Yeah, but there's an important reason why I'm going to quote you one little bit from my only review,
He's
which is
been
in
reviewed.
Fest magazine. And I'm not going to go elaborate, but I will read this part, because I think this is interesting and quite funny. It says halfway through, the spectre of herring is never far away. So I'm trying to do something on my own, and this man, boy probably, says the spectre of herring is never far away. And that's true of my entire life, not just my show. The spectre of herring is literally never far away.
I did go down to that. I knew there was a reviewer in, so I went down all dressed in white with a sheet on. Ooh, pumpkins. Ooh. Yum, yum, yum. So I did. And he was quite scared. And I said, don't give him 4 stars. Less than 4 stars. Ooh, he's getting cocky enough already. He thinks he doesn't need to do the washing up in the flat.
Now, let's get this
He's
cleared
such
up.
a brilliant stand-up comedian. He doesn't... I'm too tempted to do the washing up. We had my lovely girlfriend, who does exist, cooked us...
I haven't seen her. She's apparently living with us. I haven't
My
seen her.
girlfriend, who Andrew refuses to, spit roast with me, which I think is rude. It's rude. That is rude. That's rude to her, I would say. And if we were all in the same flat, it could easily happen now. She could
By accident.
A lovely Sunday, ironically, a Sunday roast.
Yes, how ironic is that,
A little clue to what she wanted to happen.
I was happy to have that kind of roast.
and you ate it, and then Andrew went, oh, well, of course, because she'd cooked it and everything, went and bought all the food, and we'd done nothing. And Andrew went, of course, don't worry, we will do the washing up. He said, we will do it. On the table when everyone was there, so he looked magnanimous and amazed. Don't worry, you've cooked. We will do the washing up. They said, I've just got to go out now because I've heard there's a review in the culture section of Collings Herrin. I've just got to go and see what it says. And he went out of the flat for about 3 hours buying a newspaper, by which time he came back, I'd not only washed up the stuff that couldn't fit in the dishwasher had done a full cycle. I'd realised that the dishwasher didn't really work. I'd given it another chance, another full cycle, and then had to wash everything up. By the time he came back and go, yeah, and the whole thing was washed up. I left everything on the drying, thinking, at least he'll, you remember when at the end of the meal, what he'd said? We will do the washing up. Don't forget that. That's the thing he said. And he came, I thought, I'll just leave all because there's loads of stuff that's a proper full, there's all dishes and everything everywhere. He'll at least put those away when they're dry. That's the least he can do for this free meal he's had. No. He was out arrogantly doing a little gig somewhere and there was no microphone or proper lighting. Honestly, I don't know how they expect me to perform. They know who I am. I am Andrew Collins, the stand-up comedian. I can do an hour of talking about stuff. That's stand-up, right? Just standing on stage talking. That's stand-up. Fucking ridiculous. He's going to ruin the whole relationship between the two of us if you start to believe you're funny.
It already has ruined it.
Okay.
There's not much to ruin.
It has. Look at that silence.
Yeah.
That was the moment. It was going well up to there.
Yeah.
Then suddenly the audience went, yes, something's gone. The magic.
The magic has gone. But that's okay. We've only got 10 of these to do it. We'll be fine.
10?
We'll get through it. After
Why
Richard
did I agree to
after
do
Richard
this?
had
I'm
communicated.
doing a proper fucking show. Christ on a mic at the Assembly, in an actual venue where the PA works, Andrew, and it's not just a pub with some tattooed, scary men coming in.
I went to see Richard's show, Christ on a Bike, at Assembly on the first night I was here.
Yeah,
quite right.
yeah.
It's very good.
Volunteer.
Two things impressed me about it. Don't forget, I had also seen it in 2001 when it was first on. And 2 things impressed me. 1, technically it was very good.
Well,
2, I was really impressed by the queue. because it went on for quite a long way down George Street, and I had to get in it, even though I had a free ticket. I had to get in the queue, and I thought, wow, that is a good queue. And I told Richard that I was impressed with the queue and the technical skills involved, and he thought that meant I was too embarrassed to say that I didn't like the rest of it.
Yeah,
the only bits I liked...
It was a good queue. I was amazed by the queue. It was just people queuing up to see it. It was amazing. That means they don't like the show. That is what happened. Someone comes again, I like the seat I was in. It was quite comfortable. So he didn't like it, but it is.
But I did like it. That's the funny thing.
Good.
I don't think liking the queue.
Now he's a proper stand-up comedian. Oh yeah, I know. Oh, it was a bit a bit passé. It was a bit 2001. You've moved on since then. You shouldn't be doing this show again. So anyway, I'm doing that show. What was I saying about it's in a room with chandeliers, isn't it?
Chandeliers. You've got chandeliers now.
I'm very
He's
tired.
changed.
What I'm saying is I'm very tired already. I've been even though I haven't been drinking, I always imagined when they came to the Fringe, the reason I was knackered all in and stayed in bed all day was because I was drunk and hungover. But I haven't been drinking and I still feel just as bad. I don't know whether the alcohol actually makes you feel better. And there's somehow in Edinburgh hangover works in reverse because I feel like I'm hungover. But maybe it's just a lifetime hangover. Maybe I've kept my drunkenness topped up for 43 years. I drank when I was 2 years old. I didn't. And now I've stopped drinking. Suddenly the hangovers have had a chance because if you drink hair of the dog, it stops it. If you stay perpetually drunk, you don't get hungover. Basically, is what I'm saying. And so maybe I've got a lifetime's worth of hangovers that I'm trying to get over while I'm here at the end of Fringe doing this shit. I don't know what this room is. I don't know why. I'm in a 345-seater room with chandeliers in it now.
Chandeliers?
Yes.
Are they more authentic than chandeliers?
Chandeliers.
Yeah, chandeliers.
And now I'm in some fucking shitty little... I don't know what this place is. £5 it costs to come in here. Everyone's going, I paid £5. I paid £5. Where's my show? And I go, do this. You're just making up as you go along. You clearly haven't planned any of this. I paid £2 for your shitty show.
Well, you didn't have to. That's the whole point about...
I was walking out and you were walking with me. I felt unfortunately, I forgot that every time I do a collection at the end of my show, but it's for charity, because I'm not greedy like Andrew Collins, just sort of grubbing around like some kind of tramp with his coins. I do it for charity for Scope, and every day someone will put in some foreign coinage of some kind. I had something unidentifiable. It might have been from space or the Middle East. I'm sure. It's either space or the Middle East.
Yeah, one of the two. Either way, they won't take it.
They're not proper writing, like we're not proper English writing, all squiggles and stuff.
Yeah.
What's that about? Hey, yeah. You with me, racists? What I should have done is just bought the bag of those that I've got. I've got about 10 or 15 coins now, and I could have looked really generous, which is what I'm guessing. That's why I don't get people come to, and it's a charity collection. It's not a mistake, because it's not like, oh, here's some change from my pocket. Oh, there was accidentally some Czech coinage from 1995 in there. I apologise, I didn't know. People have come, and they thought, I don't want people to think I'm mean. I don't want people to think that I'm not going to give anything. So what I'll do, I'll get rid of these coins that are at the bottom of my bag. Yeah. I hate those people. If I ever get you. I know you're in here, some of you. What do you think about, rather than just reading bits out of the newspaper and making out that's entertainment, why don't we discuss something that isn't in the newspaper but was on the BBC website? It probably is in a newspaper somewhere.
Yes, I expect
of the building a mosque in the shadow of where there is no shadow.
I was going to say. Yeah.
Because there's nothing there anymore, of the World Trade Center, 2 blocks away from where it happened, which is probably half a mile or a mile away from the scene. They're daring to build a religious place of worship, which some of the people who were well involved in it were members of, though not particularly good ones, because if you look at Islam, they say don't really kill people in that sense. Using an aeroplane, that's in the Quran.
What, don't use an aeroplane? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
As is my understanding.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm going to hell now.
There's a lot of different ways to interpret it, but that is one way to interpret it.
It's a fatwa on me now for daring to say something that isn't in the Quran. We wouldn't do stuff about Islam, would we? I happen to take the piss out of Jesus, wouldn't take the piss out of Islam, would we? Yeah, we would. Everyone who believes in Islam is a cunt. But, having said that, what are you doing listening to a podcast? That's against Islam. You're going to hell. It's in the Quran. I expect it is. Muhammad never listened to the podcast, did he? So if you're listening to it and you're from Islam...
You're from Islam.
It's a place, isn't it?
You're an Islamian.
But having said all that, I'm going to say that I'm going to back up Barack Obama. I'm going to back Obama.
You're going to barack him.
Because for everyone all fucking stupid, what's her face, the Tina Fey.
Stupid, what's her face? Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, who was the vice president candidate.
Tina
Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Michael Palin's mum. She's going next door. It's awful. They shouldn't be allowed. It's disrespectful to all the victims of 9/11 that they're building a mosque some distance away from the World Trade Center, which it is. That's like saying no one can build a Catholic church in Birmingham anymore because the Catholics blew up some pubs in Birmingham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not the Catholics, some Catholics, some people who were Catholics blew up a pub in Birmingham.
That's true.
Or maybe they didn't because they've got let out those ones, but I bet the other ones were Catholics who did it.
They might not have been Catholics, they might have been Protestants doing it to make the Catholics look bad.
Yeah, that's what they often do.
Yeah, I know. So it'd be like building any place of worship.
So anyway, just in case.
Yeah, let's cover all that.
Just in case, no Protestant or Catholic churches in Birmingham because it's offensive.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's good. And Barack Obama's come out and said that America's all about freedom of worship and people are allowed to.
Yeah.
But I think actually it would be a good idea to turn the World Trade Center on that space to turn it into a massive mosque.
A big
10,000 feet high.
Massive, yeah.
Because then, if anyone from Islam then flies a plane into it, they're going to be in big trouble, aren't they? So it's probably the safest thing you could be, and then people could work in there. Yeah. They could make a mosque at the bottom and fill it with all the most holy things from Islam, and everyone could just work and do the World Trade Center work above there.
Yeah, so
safe as houses, they'd be them. So move that mosque to the World Trade Center. Well, I find it. It's awful. And only two politicians, Barack Obama, I think the mayor of New York, come out and said it's okay, and they should be allowed to build a mosque on their own property where they want to. It's fucking outrageous. I saw some people from the BNP doing that. They were somewhere in South England. And protesting. It was on BNP Wives. I saw this, and
BNP Wives. And that is a real thing.
They were saying, they're building a mosque in our town when they were trying to protest against the building of a mosque in their town, and they were using that same argument that do you want terrorists to be in your town?
Yeah,
it's
a spurious argument.
So fucking awful.
What would be offensive would be to build two mosques sticking out of where the World Trade Center was.
What would be offensive is to take the remains of the 9/11 victims,
like the dust
that is left, and build that into a big cock, and use the ashes of all the stuff that burnt up in 9/11. It's like a fountain that comes out the top of it, and then any children of the 9/11 victims are trapped inside the cock and are left to starve to death.
Yeah, that's good.
That would be offensive.
Yeah.
And I am planning on doing it.
That was one of the proposals that was rejected. There have been a lot of proposals. They haven't decided what to do with it yet, have they?
What would be offensive if they built an exact replica of the World Trade Center
and then
every hour flew an aeroplane and then rebuilt it and they filled it up with puppies and the plane would be piloted by puppies as well, and they would have puppies who were trained to take over the plane.
Like puppies with
beards and little red bandanas on. And some of the puppies would tie up some of the other puppies, and then the puppies would have been trained to fly in there, and then once it was all destroyed, they would just immediately start rebuilding it again and retraining the puppies to fly planes, and then it would all come. 5 years later, they would just the minute it was built, bang again, it would happen again.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
They could put kittens in the towers and puppies in the planes, and then the next time round they could have kittens in the planes and puppies in the building. Just for a bit of variety.
If the Islam people from Islam,
who are
who remember are all cunts and wrong, and their religion is just as shit as all the other religions. You scared now? You scared? Are you scared there might be a suicide bomber listening out the door? And he said it. He said it. Let's get the. It's not you should be scared. It's the next audience who come and see. You're completely safe. Well, I also got. There was a man the other day. I'll mention this. One of the men. It wasn't the man who who put his finger up at me, but another man. Yeah, he hasn't got in touch. But another man got in touch. Oh, where's he gone? Oh, maybe it's down here. Oh yeah, Dead Sea Squirrel
Weird name. Just a quick note to say how much I enjoyed seeing you and Tiny Andrew Collins at the podcast yesterday, which is the day before yesterday. Well, that was until you pointed out I was sitting under a spotlight and said I was ugly. That's how it says. While I smiled like an idiot, I really was quite upset and also disappointed that I couldn't give an appropriate comeback at the time. I've since had time to consider one. This is their spirit d'escalier, and wanted to let you know that you look like a chubby Peter Stringfellow, one who had really let himself go. Being called ugly by you is like being called a cunt by Jeremy Kyle.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. He must have got a team of writers in.
It's too late to do. You have to do it at the time. Please tell Andrew I really enjoyed his secret dancing show. I'm looking forward to seeing your show tomorrow. It must have been yesterday. Haven't had a response to find out if he enjoyed it. I understand the premise is that Jesus may have looked like you if he had lived to his mid-40s. I suspect if he knew that when he was 33, he would have felt happier about being nailed to a tree.
Round of applause.
But then when I didn't respond to him, he lost his bottle of it, a Dead Sea Squirrel, and then I've just reread the email I sent you yesterday and realised it seems a bit off. I hope you realise it was sent in good humour in the spirit of the insults that often featured in the Collings Herrin podcast. He's ruined it, hasn't he? He's ruined it. I really enjoy all your podcasts and shows. Please be my friend.
It's better.
The work you do for Scope was also amazing. I will make a good donation to that charity to atone for my last email. No need to respond to this.
It's amazing.
Stephen Wicks. He's let himself down. He had me in a stranglehold. I was about to die, and then he let me go, and I punched him in the face.
Yeah.
Take that, Stephen Wicks.
I love that. That's what happens if you don't answer your emails.
Yes.
They always back down. And I like the people who often insult us in the spirit of the podcast.
Yeah.
They don't realise that they can't do that. We can do it, but they can't.
Do it, yeah.
You know, you've got to have something. They've got no other authority.
He was funny.
It's the only
Otherwise
authority
called
we have.
Dead Sea Squirrel.
I like Dead Sea Squirrel, Stephen Wicks. I just think he put so much effort into that as well. It was such a good email. So,
You can't remember what it was. Oh well. Carry on.
Big Macs are going to come with cholesterol pills
I know,
to
good
reduce
idea.
the cholesterol that you've increased by eating a Big Mac. Now, that is the truth. That's a true story. It's in the paper. Well, I can think of a quite quick way of not having to do that.
What would that
Not
be?
have a Big Mac.
Yeah, but then McDonald's would go out of business.
Well, that would be terrible.
It would.
Hey, kids. They all go to McDonald's.
It's quite nice.
Anyone go to McDonald's?
It's nice every now and again
Yeah.
as part of a calorie-controlled diet. Actually, just a McDonald's, if you just had the burger and not the chips, it's not that calorific.
And that's all
Take
that
the
matters.
cheese out.
Yeah.
It is all that matters, Andrew. Look at me, a stone lighter than I was this time last month. Probably last year, not having read the stupid fucking book you got me for my birthday.
I can't believe I gave him a book and he's not read it. How rude is that?
Got me 3 books. I threw them all in the bin. And then I
Again?
did a shit on top of them, and then I threw them in another bin.
You want people to like me more than you? Keep talking.
And then I wanked onto my own shit. and then I saw the spunk going on it, and all the dead children that I'd effectively killed. I was then sick onto the dead children. I did a wee on it, and then I did a bleed on it, and then I opened up my stomach and got some bile and put that on top, like it was some chocolate sauce, but probably green, I imagine. I know because I did it. And then I. That's it. That's all the. Then I did a diarrhea on it.
If I got the receipt. You could have taken them back, is what I'm saying.
Doesn't make sense, the joke. So it just sounded like it was a joke, so people laughed.
That's good enough
I
for
think
me.
the people at home were
Good
listening
enough
going,
for me.
actually, that joke didn't make sense. So look, we're going to have to.
This story, I actually don't understand it, so I'm going to
Okay.
tell you it, and
I'll
I want you to
explain it
explain
to
it.
you.
Well,
I'll
I actually don't really quite, I haven't grasped what it is.
I'm sure it will make
A
sense.
horrified widow.
That is a woman who has lost her husband.
Okay, right.
Something has
All right.
upset her and made her scared.
A horrified widow received a letter, I know what that bit
Yeah,
means.
okay, good.
For her dead husband, you know how sometimes letters come to somebody who's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Referring to him as brown bread. Right?
Yeah, that means dead.
Yeah, I know it does, but I'm not quite sure why. Sheila.
Well, someone had written to her saying, your husband's brown, you are brown bread.
Well, it didn't say that. It
Okay,
says
go
here that
Tell me the whole story.
Sheila Delhoy, 61.
Sheila Delboy?
Delhoy,
Okay.
61, saw the Cockney rhyming slang for dead. They've explained it.
Brown
right?
bread. Well, it seems to be fairly obvious now.
Above, Plasterer Ken's name on the mail from a wholesale supplies company. Right?
Yeah.
So it seems to have been addressed to him, but it seemed to say above his name,
Brown
bread. Why would who and why
Well,
would that
someone
happen?
probably.
You think I'm just mucking about?
No, probably they said, shall we send him a catalogue? And there's no need to send him a catalogue. They're in their companies. And there's no need to send him a catalogue. He's brown bread. And then accidentally they tied that in. They probably were meant to put dead, and they went, I'm so confident.
But they wouldn't put dead on it either, would they? They wouldn't put dead.
They might
Why would
put
they
it somewhere.
dead
They probably
Mr.
put it in the wrong box. You put dead in another box, and then they don't send stuff out to them anymore. It's a waste of postage.
It is, yeah, I would have thought so.
If anyone has died who asked for my programme, do let me know, because then I won't send it out. Save the stamp.
Sheila, who is
Yeah.
the widow, she says it came as a shock to have it put so bluntly. Now I think
Isn't that blunt, is it?
I think dead is more blunt
Yeah.
than brown bread. Brown bread softens the blow slightly, doesn't
And also,
it?
she surely
It's quite
knew.
funny,
She knew
brown
he was
bread.
dead, right?
Yeah, she did.
This
but-
isn't the way she found out.
No, that would be terrible. Brown bread. She thought, some
Some
brown
ra-
bread
what's
has
the-
come for my
what's the
husband.
best-
Haven't seen him for a while.
It'd be good to send people
Ken,
cryptic clues.
your brown bread's come.
Could be cryptic clues. People should
Maybe.
send some brown bread through and go
Work it
addressed
out.
it. Then someone should send a bucket and kick it. And you get in the message. It's got a picture of your husband's face on it. Oh no, it'd have to be a model of him was sent to him, and that he is kicking the bucket.
Yeah,
that would
probably, yeah.
You have to make an animatronic model of
Ken. Yeah.
and then he's got a bucket, he's kicking. And I still don't understand what it is.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while, but I still don't know what it means. Also, he could be sleeping with the fishes. That would work as well. But it says here, I'm still grieving. She's still grieving. She does know he's
Could
dead.
be having sex with a fish.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Keep it cryptic. It's got to be a cryptic.
Yeah.
It's not the easy crossword. It's the cryptic crossword. Then you found out that he's dead. If they used his actual corpse in the animatronic thing, that would be a hint.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. With him knee deep in a fish.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I'm sure there's a phrase that's a bit like
Knee-deep.
that. What is it then? Something about
Up
being
to
deep
his
in it.
plums.
Up to his plums. That's it. I don't know
He's got his foot in
copyright.
there. What do you think you're saying were you imagining he's got his foot in the fish, or are you imagining he's fucking the fish to such an extent that it's gone
His whole
over his
body's gone in,
genitals,
yeah.
round his
Yeah,
pelvis, and down his leg?
Why the hell not?
That fish is not going to be swimming again. That's probably what happened to that great big fish that died, didn't you? You see the picture of they've had that big fish that was swimming around, and it's dead, unfortunately. He's been caught about 22 times in this famous... Have you seen that? It's like a gigantic fish, but that's probably why because it's so gigantic, you could only do that to that fish. It's just recently died.
Oh, I missed that story.
It's like in the Simpsons episode where he goes to catch that fish.
I remember that,
But it's real.
Yeah, I remember that. Right, in The Simpsons it's real.
Yeah.
Ken's name. She says,
It's Ken,
still
it is
grieving. I'm still grieving. And to have that put against Ken's name has disgusted me, she said. Right? It's insulting to his memory. She does know he's dead. Supplies firm, Whack, that's what they're called, Whack, which is a stupid name for a supplies firm, apologised but would not explain what happened. That's the bit I like at the end. We're really sorry. I'm not telling you why. We're not telling you why we did it, but we're really sorry.
It's probably his final wish. He rang them up and said, can you send, when I die, can you send an
some
envelope
brown
with
bread,
brown bread written on it, but don't ever tell anyone why you did it. And they are respecting his wishes. That is the only explanation. Oh, for God's sake.
What?
You make me sick.
What?
Yeah, go and read it out.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I can't believe that what he's... I distance myself from what the next story.
I won't talk about it.
Go,
You
no,
know. It's in the paper, it's in a public paper. A child could buy this
but not
paper.
to be talked about in a comedy show. Go ahead. Tell them which story you've picked out. At least it's not a naked woman with the breasts out.
No,
As
it's
for
not.
once, it's even worse than that.
All I'm saying is that all the story is about a British tourist who was taking photographs of kids on a beach, right? That's bad. I know it's bad. He's been arrested for this. He's in Portugal.
It's not a good start.
No, but
trying to make light of someone taking photos of kids, which you don't. That's wrong, isn't it?
It is wrong. I never said it was right.
This story. What's the headline of the story?
Well, this is why I'm telling you about the story. That's why I'm telling you the story. That's why I'm telling you it. That's why I'm telling you it.
Read it.
The Sun have got a story about a British tourist taking pictures of kids in Portugal where it's illegal and he's been arrested. But they have used, in order to sell this story to, because it's not interesting enough, poor Maddie's face, and it says Maddie Beach Perv, right? And then it says he's been taking photos of children on a beach near where Madeleine McCann went missing, right? So they've made a link. They've made that link. They are journalists. They've made that link. But if you read to the end, it says the beach where it happened, right? The beach where it happened is 50 miles away, right? This is why I bothered to tell you the story.
They can travel those
50 miles. That's not that near, is
Many
it?
of them are too fat. It would have taken a couple of years. For them to hobble that far, but that suggests it is
I agree.
That's my serious
I
point.
wasn't
What
going to
are you
make a
arguing
joke.
about?
I wasn't going to make a joke.
It's my serious point. I can put my headphones on. Noise cancelling. I can't hear you now. Got the green lights on. I can't hear. We could be a Mr. and Mrs. now.
All right. That's good. Ask me a question about Richard, and I'll see if I can answer it. Because we are a bit of a couple. We're living together in Edinburgh. So, anyone want to ask me a question about Richard, and I'll tell you if I can answer it.
What's his favourite book?
Okay, that's a good question. What's his favourite book? It is probably some big history book that he's never actually read. He pretends to have done history at Oxford College, and that'll be that. Another question. That's one question. I know I've answered it.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, I've answered it. Another question about Richard for me to answer. Come on.
The toilet seat up.
Does he leave the toilet seat up? I don't know, because I don't go in the bathroom he uses for that very reason. Right? But I would imagine he does, yes, because he's disgusting. Third question.
What's his guilty pleasure?
His guilty pleasure. Well, I don't know how guilty he feels about it. He's got quite a lot of pleasures which he should feel guilty about. A dozen, oddly enough, such as Good Night, Sweetheart, which we were watching yesterday afternoon, actually. Like a married couple, we were watching it in the afternoon and going, I can't believe this isn't better.
I'll answer the questions.
All right,
what were the questions
what's your favourite book?
It is Where Did It All Go Right by Andrew Collins.
See, that is correct. That is a history book that he's never actually read, so well done. I got 1 point. The second question was, do you leave the toilet seat up? And I said I don't know.
If there's a lady in the house. What was the third question?
Guilty pleasure.
Oh, guilty pleasure. And I said Good Night, Sweetheart, which is. But you don't feel guilty about that, do you?
While girls dance in a high arm.
Give me your headphones and you can answer 3 questions about me. I know they don't work, but I'll put them on.
With your ear sweat.
Wow, they're really pretty good, actually. It's like being underwater.
Ear sweat, or Andrew Collins' ear sweat on my lovely headphones. But I go to the gym.
Really like
they've really got my ear sweat all over it. I have to say, well, who wants what a question about Andrew Collins? I'll tell you the answer to. Anyone got one?
How often does he mention Nottingham?
How often does he mention Northampton? Is that what you said? Northampton.
Yeah, he said
Nottingham.
Nottingham.
How often does he? I'm going to have to take the first question. How often does he mention Nottingham? I'd say about once every 3 months. And we might guess, we'll see. Anyone got another question? Surreal question?
What's his shoe size?
What's his shoe size? 9. Yeah, what's the next question?
Have you ever caught him making a pumpkin?
Have I ever caught I've helped him make a cupcake. All right, Andrew, you can take off. You can take off the headphones now.
They're pretty amazing, actually.
The questions are: how often do you mention Nottingham?
Once every 3 months.
Yeah. What is your shoe size?
8.
Oh, so we could wear the same shoes.
Are you 8 as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
And my girlfriend is. If you came and lived with us, we could all just have one pair of shoes.
Just go out one at a time. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Save our living expenses.
Yeah.
And the final question was: have I ever caught you making a pumpkin?
No, he's never caught me doing anything.
No.
So I've never been anywhere where he might catch me.
I could have come into your room. You must have got up some hijinks in that room.
Well, I mean,
This Edinburgh. I'm usually in bed. I've been so good. This Edinburgh.
He's been so dull.
It's just ridiculous.
Now I'm scared for no reason at all.
What are you
because I've
scared of?
seen the cage that the miners are going to have to come out of that Chilean mine in.
Yeah.
If you've seen it, I mean, you can at the front. You might have seen it anyway. It's like a man-sized cage. They're going to drop the cage down.
Are you scared that they're going to come down that chute and there won't be any lights along it? So you can't come out until this is fully lit all the way down.
I'm scared for them because I know that they can't be claustrophobic, assuming that they're not. But still, you're getting in that cage. You've got to be in there 15 minutes apparently on the way up. 15 minutes in that cage.
I think the fact they're probably getting out of a hole that miles underground, they're probably going, this is quite a positive development.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I'm not that bothered. Oh, I'm a little bit claustrophobic. Maybe I shouldn't have become a miner. Or if I was going to, probably not in Chile where mines keep on collapsing.
Do you think there's not been any mention of it in the press? There's been any romance down there? Get it out of the way first. Get it out of the way. I got a boo on Twitter today, because I said that paying fat people money, they'll just spend it on food. That's what I put. And I got a boo on Twitter. I can't believe I had 2 boos in one day. Yeah. And I am fat, you can see. So, I feel your pain. So anyway, do you or not?
What?
think there's been any romance down there. They're going to make a film of it at some point, aren't they? They'll have to introduce that later.
No, I don't think there has been any romance.
I've got
two gay miners. That could never happen. Was one of the village people the miner? Should have been a construction worker, wasn't he? But he could have doubled up.
Under 16.
Oh, good. Hey,
Andrew Collins has gone mad with power and also with tiredness, so it's going to be quite interesting. Why not give out my address in London while we're at it? So I have to move.
Look, you only stayed there for one more night. They'd have to go in every hotel in Cardiff. Go to all the
look at him, old beardo there. He'll do anything. He'll go through every hotel. He's going to be clever. He's going to think, well, it's going to be somewhere in this vicinity.
It's not. It's
I'll start at the Premier. Well, that's now you're giving that away. Something extra clues.
I don't think they care that much, Richard. I really
He does.
don't.
He'll go around
They don't
Premier
care.
2-0. What rooms have you got with 2-0?
I've got some capsules that they ordered. Special capsules that I have made.
It's all right.
Anyway, the news.
They look quite nice. They look mainly, actually.
I think very nice.
There's a bloke there who looks terrifying. Looks like Rasputin. But apart from him, who I'm quite obsessed with at the moment. Yeah, yes. You don't look around. You with the massive beard and hair. Yeah, you.
Are you in computers, sir?
Graphic design.
I bet you use a computer. Well, so do you.
Well, everyone uses
My mum uses a computer.
Scared you what? You in Cardiff? You don't think they've got computers and he's not doing well.
I know they have. They're in the future in Cardiff. They are. They're in the future. We're in the
Just
past.
treat them. They're the same as everyone else. Don't try and make out there. We're not trying to go out there. It's not like you're out for dinner with a woman. You're going, actually, I think women are better than men.
I didn't think that.
I am sexist against men. That still makes you sexist, though, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm against sexism.
Yeah.
So don't make out they're better. They're not better than
They're
us.
not better.
They're
You just said they were better looking
They're
than
not.
normal.
They're better than normal than our normal audiences.
Yes,
the people
well,
who
that's
come
why I
here.
agree
So
with
that
that.
is true.
They are.
But people in Cardiff, people in London, people in Cardiff compared to people in London are just slightly low. It's a very nearly as good, but not quite as good. It's just that's just a fact. If you don't like the truth, don't come here to my podcast. Expect me to butter you up.
Your podcast.
That is
it
the
true?
Yeah, it is mine. So you're being really nice to them hasn't worked, and me slagging them off slightly hasn't worked.
No.
I didn't go far enough. See, I was too close to the truth. They went, we are slightly worse than people. If you said we were much shitter than them, that would have been funny. But the truth has hurt us. We didn't.
How are we going to get back from this?
I don't know if you've been to London, right?
It's
not all that nice. Compared to Cardiff. No, well, the good thing about Cardiff, it started knocking most of it down and building new buildings.
Yeah,
It's really fucking... The bits that's been rebuilt are great, and the bits that haven't, like the railway
bit we walked
station.
past, yeah.
I like being in the 1970s.
Yeah, you seem to have socially cleansed the city, which is, to use a current buzzword. Well done for that. Where do the prostitutes go now? They must go somewhere. Prostitutes got to go somewhere, haven't they? You've driven them underground. Have you just buried them all? Well, there used to be loads of places prostitutes could go. Now all those places have been covered up.
I think, Collings Herrin audience, you've let me down because this was. Thank you.
Thank
you.
I have not read the newspapers today. I have no idea what's happened. Did Obama get voted out?
I don't think that was what it was about. But
No, I know, but yeah.
I don't think he's done particularly
Did
well.
they give him a drubbing? Did anybody?
Is that what the podcast has turned into? Us asking you what's happening? I think we're meant to. Aren't we meant to give a witty look at the news that we've read?
You throw the news stories, we'll give you wit. You don't even care about the news.
Turning into Lemberopic, look at it. The arrogance of the man.
I'm not sure these people even know there's been midterm elections in America.
That's very offensive.
Well, no, I think
Looking at they seem Welsh, they're probably not interested in what happens. You know, there's a place called Swansea up the road. I don't know if you know of it. They're just very parochial here, aren't they?
Swansea is
Isn't there
Swansea is
Masonic temple?
It's a kind of rubbish Cardiff, isn't it, Swansea?
This is a really bad place to come and be rude because this is like they've probably got places where they have like big sacrifice tables and stuff. Nice, yeah. And there's lots of them and there's not many of us, so I'm going to be very nice about the Welsh today.
Good. I'm always nice about the Welsh, patronising himself, isn't it?
I know, but that's why. You see that
tension and awfulness in the room. You created that, and I'm going to have to dig us out of that either by being very nice or really horrible to me.
All right,
probably
do that.
really horrible.
Yeah, do that.
And then like us
I
again.
mentioned the stereophonics in the first half,
That was
just to
very
get in with them,
patronising
because
of you.
everyone likes the stereophonics in Wales, don't they? Oh yeah, no one likes them at all. Yeah. Who
No one
does
likes
actually
them
like
anyway.
them? I mean, who buys their records? When they play in Wales, surely nobody goes.
He's good looking, that boy, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's not enough, is it? You can look at a good-looking boy in the street. You don't need to pay money to go and watch a good-looking boy on stage.
You have to pay money to get the ones off the street. Good, so what's been going on in your world, Andrew?
In my world?
Since the last time it's not that long since we did this. We've been like travelling salesmen. We
Yeah.
travelled back, so we've already done a podcast for the future.
Yeah, we recorded
when
one
we
in the
travelled
car.
back from Bristol in my car.
We came back
And then we've come
Bristol.
on the train and you did a fart and tried to
I
pass it
didn't.
off on
See,
an old woman
I
opposite.
can't believe it that Richard thinks that I did. If I had done a fart, I would tell you I'd done one in private, because we were sitting opposite an old couple on the train. I might have hidden it then, but when we got off the train and they were no longer around, and you said, "Did you do a fart?"
I didn't. I just
yes,
waited
did.
till we did the
Well, I
podcast.
said,
I've
no,
only
I
brought it up
didn't.
today.
No, I didn't. Why would I lie to you about that?
Because
It's
you're
a
embarrassed
natural-
because it was a really smelly fart and you did it in front of me and two strangers.
Well, it's
It
quite
was
clear.
either you or an old man or an old woman.
Well, it's quite clear. One of those old.
Well,
men
that is
did
a
it.
grave insult to those. I hope they're not listening to the podcast.
They won't.
They might have been.
They had to listen to Richard doing a phone interview about Jesus, and they were quite disturbed.
I'm not sure they were. One of them.
I
I
think
think
they
they were
were.
disturbed by your fart.
The man moved when you were talking about Jesus on the
He
phone.
moved after the fart had happened, waited a certain length of time, thought it'd be embarrassing to go straight away.
Do you think?
You claim you don't smell it, and that to me is a suspicious thing.
That's outrageous. That's
Because
like,
if there's a really bad fart, the only way you wouldn't smell it or notice it is if you had produced it out of your own rectum. Am I right?
But, you know, there are other ways of noticing if you have farted, which is the feel of air coming out of your bum. And I did not feel
But
any
your
air coming
anus
out of my
is
bum.
so ravaged and raddled like
Charming individual.
it's like. Trying to think of something that'd be like that. It's like an old glove puppet that has had loads of cocks stuck up in.
horrible.
Become ravaged.
It's horrible.
You're going to read the paper now.
I've got to catch up.
Oh, give the people that.
The,
They can, at least people that. What if you? The nice thing about this one, if you're listening at home, is that you will be able to buy this and watch it again. There'll be other ones that aren't going to be available.
Yeah, we're filming this.
So you'll be able to see what happened then when Andrew Collins just got bored, started reading the Daily Mail. He was so bored by the people of Cardiff.
I like the people of Cardiff, as you know, in a patronising manner. There's a piece about Anne Widdecombe in Strictly, which I am not watching. I don't know if anyone's watching Strictly. Are people watching Strictly? I know people are, but anybody here watching it? Or will admit to watching it? No.
They're not,
Wow,
they're not
you're
giving us much
cultural
back, are they,
snobs.
today?
Cultural snobs.
They're all sitting there just staring at us. It's like
So
children
not
with the
one.
stones.
Let me just check.
They're
not-
just going to stand up as one in a minute and move one face forward and sit down again.
Not one single person in this room watches Strictly Come Dancing. That is
They don't have it
amazing.
in Wales.
Is it not on S4C?
They don't. They have Pod Willie Come. It's on 24 hours.
What does that mean, Pod William Come? What does it mean? No, really, what does it mean? You must
That
know
isn't
that.
the name of the thing, by the
No, I
way.
don't. What is it called? People in the Valley. That's sweet.
Wow.
That's good. And is that under threat now? The BBC are going to have to run S4C. Is that right? BBC are going to have to run S4C.
Yeah.
So
now they're joining in.
probably come. Is in under threat. That's bad, isn't it? Why aren't you rising up and complaining?
Stop patronising the Welsh people.
Yeah, but they
Let's
should-
wait till we get home and then we can tell them what we thought of them. That's the clever way to do it. For the moment, don't just be nice.
Okay. I was going to talk about Anne
You know, the
Widdecombe.
reason they don't rise up, mate, is because it's a load of fucking shit.
Is it?
Yeah.
But
But they'd
is it
rather
though?
watch some
But is
programmes
it
from
though?
England in English.
But is it though?
Yeah.
Is it really?
We should, legally, aren't we obliged to have someone saying what we're saying in Welsh now? Shouldn't we have that?
I would say
service?
nobody here knows how to speak Welsh, is my guess.
Oh, that is a bold claim.
Come on, we're in the wrong
On
Wales.
the boo.
No, you don't just boo,
There's
just
been
say.
so many fucking opportunities to boo Andrew Collins during this. That's what I can't understand. Every audience we've done since the first audience that booed us sometime in Edinburgh has booed Andrew Collins without being prompted. And you're letting me down
No,
today.
I got booed.
There's
I'm
been
booed.
several opportunities to boo Andrew
Yeah, but
Collins.
you dilute the
Who
boo.
can speak Welsh? Shout out now.
How many?
Yeah, Welsh.
Hands up, hands up.
Yeah. Is that how you say yes in Welsh? Yeah, good.
I'm pleased. It's good. You should keep that language alive. That patronising enough. I used to spend my holidays in North Wales. I couldn't understand a word of what was going on when I was a kid. Couldn't understand a word of it.
It's rare that you are the more offensive one. Consistently the more offensive one. He's had a drink of cider.
Yeah, I know.
Overexcited. He went to the bar, said, do you want anything from the bar? I said, I'd just water, Andrew, because a pint of water would be lovely. I haven't had a drink for 115 days. And he was away for ages.
Do you know why I was away for ages?
Yeah, because people coming to go, oh, Andrew, I love doing secret dancing. Yeah, that was me. That was me. I was just up on stage, just then doing jokes and stuff.
It was a big queue, is the truth.
You're the star push-through.
I don't push through.
Richard Herrin needs a pint of tap water for the stage. So he doesn't look like a toddler sucking on a big bottle. Look at it. This is what you reduced me to. Look.
Brecon carry.
Again, that people at home, that joke will be available on DVD. This is a question.
I talk about frog tape.
About frog tape.
Yeah,
you can talk about
tape.
anything you want.
Yeah, but
that's why when you come on, I say you can talk about anything you want.
Frog tape.
So don't go. I didn't ask you about Classic FM or whatever it is
I
you
don't care
do.
about that. I've got my gig there is fine. I am now interested in classical music. That's all you need to know. But the frog tape, having done lots of DIY recently, frog tape is basically a really, really hard-wearing kind of masking tape, effectively. Right? And you can get it in any DIY shop. It's not a weird thing. You can get it. It's called frog tape. And it comes in an orange box. Has anybody seen this? You're too young to
When I said you could come on and talk about anything you wanted, maybe should have put some parameters
in the spirit of the old podcast, this is exactly what I would have talked about.
I'm being in the spirit.
In the week that I had used frog tape for the first time. It's a really hard-wearing tape that if you are painting, let's say, or even filling a hole, if you put frog tape on it either side, frog tape, it's called frog tape. I can't even
Are you being sponsored by frog tape?
No.
Have you snuck in an advert for frog tape? The frog tape billionaires, the magnates. Andrew, if you could mention frog tape 15 times,
you know what?
Just towards the end, then we'll slip you 50 quid cash money
to prove
and
that
all the frog tape you can use for a day.
I'll prove that you're wrong by saying that frog tape
is shit.
Frog tape has
I can only prove you wrong if you say frog tape is shit and you should never buy it. That's the only way you can prove me wrong.
Frog tape, according to its main competitor, Gorilla Tape, is shit. That is what I found interesting about this whole episode, is that frog tape and Gorilla Tape are two different brands of the same tape, which do the same thing, which is if you put them on a wall and then say you do some filling with some, I don't know, gypsum-based filler, or paint, then when you peel the tape off afterwards, not a single bit of it will go under the tape. So it's really, really good quality tape. But there are two different companies that make the same thing, and one's called frog tape. I don't even know why it's called frog tape, but it is. And the other company is called Gorilla Tape. Now, there's an advert on television at the moment, which if you watch television you might have seen, for Gorilla Glue. Has anybody seen this? No. You don't watch enough telly. I know what you do. You fast forward through the adverts with your special devices. Gorilla Tape and frog tape are obviously competitors in the same sphere. I don't think there's anything different between frog tape and Gorilla Tape. But one's called frog tape and one's called Gorilla Tape. And I have chosen frog tape. That is all I'm saying.
I'm so worried about turning 50, I can't tell you. I'm so concerned about it. So genuinely terrified. And I would, if I was I'm going to engage with this. If the choice is Gorilla or frog tape and they're the same, Gorilla Tape.
No, because Gorilla Tape obviously feels the need to make itself look bigger than it is, whereas a frog is quite content to be just good.
If you were painting a wall
Yeah.
and you needed to cover some of the wall up, would you rather use a frog or a gorilla to do that?
I would rather use frog tape.
Well, then you have to really straight, but no, that wasn't
Do you know
the question.
why I use frog tape? I'll be honest. I'll be totally honest, and this is really important. Like,
Your
it's a-
dad?
No, it's even more basic than that. Frog tape is the first one that I saw, and that's the one I bought. So now I've seen gorilla tape, I'm going, no, fuck you. I've already got frog tape. I don't need gorilla tape, just because you think you're bigger than a frog. That's honesty, I'm being honest.
I'm glad we can finally be honest after all these years about our feelings. Are you having a nice time, everyone? Is it okay? Yeah, sorry.
It's worth mentioning that he just gets other people to do his work on the house, you know. So he probably doesn't need to know what tape is.
I said you could come round and decorate my house if you wanted. I'm happy to pay you. I'll pay you the same as I'm paying the guy to come round and decorate my house. And I reckon he'll do a better job. He uses gorilla tape, though. That is, I happen to know. We had a long discussion about it.